I've been referring to this comic book story as a comic book adventure story. Um, but I think a lot of people, when they look into the book, will their first question will be, "How is this a comic book?" Right? It doesn't look like a comic book. For example, let's compare it to what a typical comic book looks like. This is Xenozoic Tales by Mark Schultz, which is one of my favorites, black and white. And here you have the typical comic book with panels defined by borders, in this case 9 or 8 per page, and they tell us our story in sequences of drawings. And when you compare it to my book, there are no panels, you don't have any borders, but you do have sequences. For example, there are really 4 sequences, which is much fewer than a typical comic book, but really there are no rules of how many sequences a comic book has to have. So for example, this is one sequence. The kid is jumping on some kind of a contraption that springs him up. This is the second sequence. You can consider the background of him kind of looking, the face, or rather the glasses, as a kind of a third sequence. And then finally you have the fourth sequence of him landing onto another top. So this is a comic book, but not like any comic book you've ever seen, I'm pretty sure. It does have fewer panels per page, but I think, well, it still tells a story, and I think the layouts as spreads are very interesting and work together well. Meaning the drawings don't feel separated, they make up a whole entire composition, which to me, that's kind of exciting as a book design. Now let's see what this looked like in the original, and again, lots of cleaning up and adding up, and I think it's much better in the book. It's more dynamic with the added black on the top right and a lot of cleaning up. Again, you see the notebook, and the notebook has been gotten rid of.